Ruby was a very small caterpillar. She was just about to crawl out of her egg. But first, Ruby put her head out and looked around. She saw hundreds of eggs, all exactly the same as her own. The caterpillar tenderly looked at all the little green balls. Hundreds of brothers and sisters, which had yet to be born. How would you like to have 100 brothers and sisters? Carefully, Ruby stepped over the eggs. She didn't want to hurt her brothers or sisters. And it wasn't so easy. She had to walk very carefully. A caterpillar has 16 feet. Can you imagine? Finally, Ruby the caterpillar had firm ground under her feet. The young caterpillar smelled. What it was she stood on? A nettle leaf. Yummy. A nettle? Now you will think, but that's such a nasty, prickly plant. And that is true. But for Ruby the caterpillar, it was the nicest plant in the world. Nettle is her favourite food. She began to eat, and she ate and ate and ate until Ruby's belly was full of crunchy, tasty, fresh nettle leaf. With foot 5 and foot 6, she rubbed her belly. Delicious food. A fly landed on Ruby's nettle leaf, but on the upper side. The caterpillar was on the bottom. The fly landed with a bump. The leaf swayed because of the bump. Ruby wanted to have a chat. She climbed over the edge of the leaf and curled towards the fly. Caterpillars don't really walk. They curl forward. First, they pull their rear to the front. Their middle curls up all the way, and then they put their head as far forward as possible. That's how a caterpillar walks. A very funny sight. The caterpillar said, "Hello." The fly turned and saw the caterpillar. Startled, the fly was scared and jumped backwards. "What is it? Why are you so scared?" asked Ruby. The fly stuttered. Apologies, but you look so scary. I must go now. Mum is expecting me for dinner." And away flew the fly. Ruby was very surprised. She just wanted to have a chat. The caterpillar looked down from the edge of the leaf. Down on the ground was a puddle of water. The surface was like a mirror. But Ruby was too high to see herself. She spun a line, a thread. Caterpillars can make a line. It comes out of a little hole in the head of the caterpillar. Ruby fixed the end to the nettle leaf. Holding the line, she let herself down until just above the puddle. Ruby looked at herself in the water. Do you know what she saw? No? This is what she saw. A black head, yellow and grey stripes all over her body, and of course, the 16 short feet. Ruby had ugly hairs and spiny bristles all over her body. When the caterpillar saw herself in the puddle, she understood why the fly had become startled. Ruby also found herself to be pretty scary. But I can't do anything about that, she thought. That is just how I am. An ant came running along. He didn't see the caterpillar at first, because the ant was looking down at the ground. He was looking for a pine needle, for the anthill. Ruby stared at the ant. The ant stopped. His insect's instinct told him that someone was watching him. The ant turned his little head up and saw Ruby hanging over the puddle on the wire. He let out a scream and ran away, as fast as his little legs would carry him. Ruby knew why the ant had run away. The caterpillar knew she looked scary to other animals. She was very sad. "Hey, sister!" Ruby suddenly heard. The caterpillar looked up. She saw her brothers and sisters from the nettle leaf watching her. One shouted, "Why don't you come up here? We will make a tent and eat nettle." Ruby fancied that, to play with her siblings. Also, she'd become very hungry again. The caterpillar climbed up the thread. But suddenly, there was a very strong wind. The wind blew Ruby and her wire away. The thread broke, and the caterpillar flew through the air, very far away. Poor Ruby. The caterpillar landed on another plant, also a green plant. Ruby tasted. Ugh! Dandelion. Not good. Ruby curled through the grass in search of her favourite nettles. Ah, there was one. Ruby ate and ate and ate, and she grew. She didn't fit very well into her skin anymore. Ruby took her skin off. Now you ask yourself, how can you take off your skin? Well, caterpillars can, as if they are taking off a jacket. But that's okay, because underneath is a new coat, one that is larger and fits better. Amazing, no? Ruby went on eating. She started at the edge of the nettle leaf and continued to eat until it was gone. Then the next leaf, and then another. Ruby continued to grow and grow. And of course, the caterpillar occasionally needed to change into a new skin. One day, Ruby felt really tired. So tired. She had not felt as tired as this in her entire life. The caterpillar felt like sleeping for a very long time in a nice warm bed. Caterpillars don't have a bed like you or me, with a mattress and blankets. Ruby made her bed by spinning a long wire around herself, by wrapping herself in a thread. And the caterpillar slept in her cocoon, her bed. Ruby slept for 10 days. That's a long time. You have 10 fingers on your hands. Now imagine that you sleep for 10 nights. Isn't that a really long time? After 10 days, Ruby crawled out of her cocoon. She felt something heavy on her back. What was that? It always takes a while before you fully wake up, especially if you have slept for 10 days. A beetle came walking along the stem. The mouth of the beetle fell open, and with eyes wide, the beetle kept staring at Ruby. Ruby started to feel sad again. Don't say anything. I know I am scary. But you are just gorgeous, cried the beetle. You have the most beautiful wings, marvellous colours. Ruby couldn't believe her ears. Wings? And pretty as well? She looked over her shoulder, at her back. Indeed, she had wings. That was the heavy load she had felt. The caterpillar had become a butterfly with fantastically colourful wings. Ruby looked at the beetle and smiled. "Thank you." She moved her wings, slowly at first, then a little faster. Butterflies can fly. Ruby flew to the beetle and gave him a kiss. She said, "I am so glad you like my beautiful wings." Then Ruby the butterfly flew to a flower and sat on it. No more nettle leaves. Flowers are much nicer. Flowers better suited Ruby's multicoloured wings. And flowers smell so good. And that is what happens to caterpillars. In the beginning, they may seem a bit scary, but then they turn into beautiful butterflies. Have you ever seen a caterpillar in the garden or in the park? Were you perhaps afraid of the caterpillar? A caterpillar isn't scary. Remember Ruby, Ruby the butterfly.